and welcome back to another episode here on ESGNet of NCAA 14, the High Scotties team builder Dynasty, and this is Scotties Sports Talk here, as we're going to take a quick look here, a quick recap of this past week's episode, or just a day ago, I guess you could say. I don't know when the episode's coming up, but nonetheless, welcome back, and we're going to recap week 14. That was, or I should say week 13, which was against North Texas in a very nice shutout there, 49-0 in that just manhandling the Mean Green there. Mean Green could have had 6 points in the ball game with 2 field goal attempts, but decided to go on fourth down, and of course both times they were unsuccessful of scoring. And after that, it was pretty much all Highland, offensively and defensively, just stopping them on defense, and of course going down the field on them and marching, making some big plays there in the game. Flanagan did have a tough game, or did a little bit of a rough game. He did get sacked though twice and had 1 interception, and also had a fumble there in the game. But 21 of 31 in the ball game there for him, with 388 passing. And like I said, also 4 touchdowns there. Also on the ground, 7 carries, 41 yards, and a broken tackle and a fumble. And then, of course, Kason, 20 carries, 116 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns there, and a broken tackle from him. As you see there, Sherman, 2 sacks in the ball game for him. He had 5 tackles and 3 tackles for loss. One of our very valuable and very, it's going to be hard to replace him here coming up in the next couple, or at least here if he's not here next year. One of our very important defensive players there in that game. As for North Texas, 13 of 26 for Shambar. He did play pretty much the remainder of the game because Fine was out of the game there. He apparently got the wind knocked out of him. They were taking some safety, I guess. Apparently he's had some other issues with, that and a slight mild concussion. And of course, the protocol is not to bring him in the game. I guess he's had he's had a history of these concussions before, and they just did not want to bring him out for his safety and, of course, others. So that's always nice to see when, the officials want to make sure that everyone is safe when playing. Remember, this is just a game. But it was really nice that they were making sure he was not on the field anymore. But for the most part here, North Texas are very, Fine was exactly what he was described from at least talking to coaches there this week, or this past week. He is a runner. He ran the ball pretty well there for him, for at least for the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game that he was in the game there. But for the most part, as advertised there, they were, pretty tough in some places there. They were able to get balls when they needed to, interceptions like they did on Flanagan there. And of course, did a great job there roughing up Flanagan on defense, ripping the ball, or I should say, ripping the ball from him and getting those turnovers there and getting possession. So unfortunately could not get on the scoreboard because they wanted to impress us. They wanted to test us and see if we can be stopped, and we were able to stop them. So nice job to see that happen. As we take a look here, you guys are looking at the scores from this past week here, and there's a couple of upsets there. A couple of games, of course, this game right here where we found out that LSU lost, and the whole guys in the whole area were just cheering. They were so happy. They lost to Auburn 20-17. So Alabama, they give up 21 points there to Ole Miss, 31-21 there. So they're still number 1 in the nation, still untouched. Nebraska getting defeated by Minnesota 31-28. There are a couple other games there are pretty interesting that you guys can look at. But for the most part here, Highland did a great job defensively. And this was a good game. Talking to Coach Teddy Bonds afterwards, he said this was, he was expecting a little bit more. He was confident that they were going to be able to beat them. but he figured that they would put up a couple points on the board. But he says, he went on to say that this is a good game to springboard off of and prepare themselves for next week's game against Stanford. Now I we'll at least talk about that here coming up here in just a bit here later on in the episode here, because Stanford is ranked number 10 in the nation right now, and we are ranked number 5, and we'll see the rankings here in just a bit. But yeah, the coaches were very happy and satisfied with everything going on, and it just looked like a very put together game there. With the of course you had your fumble and the interception there. But for the most part here, Coach Dave Bonds was satisfied from all the phases of the game. Right, the offense, defense, the special teams there did a great job of putting this game together and executing what they needed to do to get the win, and that's what they got. So they were able to have a nice home victory there against North Texas. So we'll go on here and we'll see the top 25 there. And then you see Colorado and UCLA have both dropped out. Previously at number 22 and 23, now off the top 25 there. Of course, Alabama is still number 1. And Washington is still number 2, even though they have a 2-loss season. Yeah, they have 2 losses. And a lot of people are wondering what is the deal, because I believe it's us and I can't remember who the other team was. We both have 1 loss. So, and then not to mention, Washington lost to Stanford a couple weeks ago. So that, I know Stanford's probably wondering, like, what is the deal? We beat them and they're still ranked that high up there. So we'll see. I think there's probably a lot of weight because of the Pac 16 or Pac 12 or whatever it's called right now title there, but I don't know. We'll have to find out and see how everything is play out. We'll just have to run the table. Just have to finish the games here and find out where we're at. Flanagan, of course, Montgomery, your players of the week for the Independents there. Isaiah Montgomery there, 8 tackles, tackle for loss, and then, of course, a nice sack for him. Now, take a look here. We're going to take a quick look here at where we're looking at. Now, beforehand, we was going to play, I believe, in the Orange Bowl and possibly playing against Ohio State. Well, now it looks like we're going to be playing in the Sugar Bowl, and we could be facing number 9, Clemson. So there you see number 9, Clemson's schedule here and who they play so far here. And only so far have lost to Pitt at Pitt, 27-6. And there was one other game they lost. That was a close one there. There you see some of the top leaders right now on their team. So that could be a possibility for us. So we'll keep you guys up to date on that. Take a look at some team news here. Not much going on in the recruiting area right now this week. We do have a battle with Jasper Reed with one other school, Terrence Long, and of course we got we got 3 guys right there who are ready to come visit us, and they will be visiting us next week. Now, as for Stanford, we'll get into that here. Trenton Irwin, their leading wide receiver, he is going to be questionable for the game. There you see the 2 other guys out for the season. Of course, 1 week there for Argyllis White's toward pectoral there. He'll be out for the week. Irwin, we don't know yet, but we're going to kind of game plan, or at least talking to the coaches there. They said they're going to game plan for the possibility of him being there. He is one of their good wide receivers there. He has some pretty good speed there. We'll just look at his numbers there here in a bit. But take a look here at the game preview, and there you see Highland, or I should say Stanford there. Great pass defense, or not so great pass defense. They're a little bit better than us. There you see with 218 yards there that they've given up this season. But there you see the Stanford here. They've been on a roll ever since week 2. They lost to UCLA. They lost 37-33. They have been on a roll, and they have been murdering teams there. You take a look at their results from those games there. So they are 10-1. They are. This is going to be a very interesting game. I almost think that this is going to be a game that it's going to be very. There's going to be a very good tug of war with this battle between these two teams. Of course, you got Bryce Love, the top runner, and Chrysler. There you see the top, of course, their quarterback there for them. I believe he's a senior. Bryce Love, there you see he's a senior. This will be his last year, and he would like to go out in a bang if he can, with a possibility of getting to the Pac-12 title, of course, potentially the Rose Bowl they're looking at. And that is why this game is so important, because there's so many factors going into this. We got a good shot here to play in a decent bowl game. Same thing with them, with a chance of getting a bowl game. And of course, for us too, we have a good chance here if we can play and run the table. Even though we don't have a championship, a conference championship, but we do have other teams that are going for conference championship. So if they happen to lose, if we can win this game, we'll be in pretty good shape where we can skyrocket up and be not necessarily number 2 in the top 25 poll, but maybe jump up in the BCS rankings, which is the rankings that we need to worry about the most. So take a look at Irwin there. You see a great acceleration, decent speed there. Awareness is key there. Good route running for him. So he's just good at running those routes. But like I said, he's a senior. This is his last year. I know he wants to play, but we'll see if he'll be able to play in this game, and it'll be a very important day. It's also a senior day for us. I forgot to mention that. So we have a lot of our upperclassmen, even though we don't have any seniors right now. We'll have a couple upperclassmen playing in that game. So we'll have a lot of juniors playing in this game. Dylan Jackson, the defensive end there, great player there. He has some pretty good numbers himself. He has quite a few sacks. I think he has close to 11 or 12 sacks for the season here so far this season, and he has just been just hurting offensive lines from every single week in and week out. So he is definitely a guy that we're going to have to watch out for when it comes to the pass rushing. And then of course Robinson there, the linebacker on the left side there, great ability there, zone and man. But look at his hit power there, and of course his finesse on the field, and know how to get through the tracking down receivers and line or halfbacks there. He can really put a good hurt and good touch on those guys if they come up the middle there. And then of course Bruncom, there you see the free safe or the strong safety there. Great acceleration, agility. So he's very athletic out there. He can fly around if he needs to. And like I said, deep pass wise, we got lucky with North Texas. We were able to do that, but that will not be the case here against Stanford. So a lot of the run is going to be very important for us. I would say all hands on deck when it comes to running. And the same thing with the receivers. We'll swap out some different packages. At least talking to Coach Dave Button said there was something that they were working on this week on some different packages there. And you also seen some new running package there. It's kind of like they call it a Wild Scotty. It's basically the Wildcat, but they call it the Wild Scotty or the Rabbit Scotty. It's a prey package that they're going to be starting kind of utilizing now here. They want to kind of test it out in this. They, of course, with North Texas they did that, but they want to kind of use a lot more of it coming up here in this game. Of course, in the future, you see a great run there from Flanagan, which was perfect for him. So we'll see how that goes coming up this week against Stanford. So 10-1, both are 10-1. Both are in the top 10 in the top 25, and lies on the line for both squads here coming up in next week's game. So stay tuned for that here on the channel. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, please leave a like. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to click on the bell so you guys can be notified when the videos are uploaded of this series or all the other series here on the channel. Not to mention follow us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Discord for the latest news and events on what's going on here on the channel and what's going on in the world of sports gaming. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, keep yourselves really healthy, and I will see you guys next time here on Sports Talk, or Scotties Sports Talk here. Go Scotty Nation. See you guys next week.